Princess Alia, it's such an honor to speak to you today.
It's a great pleasure to meet you and speak with you, and I'm so impressed by all you've been doing. It's really...
Well, thank you. I feel we have so much in common.
Yes, yes.
Yes, the care for the animals.
Sometimes, you know, there's a stigma if you say you're working for animals, which people start saying that humans are more important. Of course, humans are very important, but, you know, we are supposed to be, if we believe in religion, shall we say, you know, the representatives of you know, the people who rule the planet in a benevolent way, not eradicating wildlife and eradicating forests and not using it indiscriminately for our own, what we perceive as our own benefit or our own gain. What we're not understanding is that when we ignore the welfare of everything and ignore the fact that it's a whole, we're damaging everything, and eventually, you know, if butterflies and bees and everything disappear,
yes,
the human race will disappear also, and it's no good deciding to go to other planets and look for life there. You know, we've become very destructive, and it's very sad. I think we're very, shall we say, blocked off a little bit from nature and the natural world. Everything's become very commercial and very fast and very technology inspired, and I think people don't stop and think very much, and there's a certain sense of entitlement that human beings have that, you know, we can. Because we can, we're able, and we you know, it's our right to do this. Even when they purchase animals, for example, if you get a pet or you want it to fit into your household, quite often it's more about that than about, is this animal actually happy, or am I doing the right thing for it?
Yeah.
With food, I mean, we just use animals as a source of food, and there's completely ignore all the directives we have and the bigger picture that if we're eating something that's been very stressed and badly treated, it's going to be bad for us as well. But, you know, there's always everything is reciprocal. If we treat them badly, it boomerangs onto us and we lose our humanity, basically.
In our country, for example, a lot of secular people are blaming the religious people of this man-centered way of thinking.
Yes.
And the fact that animals are just to serve people. What's your comment on that?
I suppose it depends on how people try to interpret religion, and sadly, in this day and age, I think people understand it less and live it less, and tend to abide by, you know, certain aspects of it. But Islam has very specific animal welfare guidelines, and yet we tend to ignore them. Yeah, with slaughter, for example, everyone knows that what is regarded as that they have to bleed and all this. When Islam was, you know, in the old days of Islam, the quickest way to make an animal lose consciousness was for it to bleed quickly.
Yeah.
You know, rather than hit it on the head with a pipe, which may or may not work. You know, you may break its head, you may not actually kill it. So bleeding it quickly and cutting these specific arteries and veins was the best way of getting it to die fast. However, there are many other directives involved with it also. It's not just about the cut, and it's not just about, you know, saying the name of God before you kill it. It's about, you know, there's so many sayings of the Prophet that you have to lead them to slaughter in a kind way. They should not be aware that they're about to be killed. The knife should be so sharp that it's only one cut. They should be given a drink of water before they're killed. They should not see another animal being killed in front of them. And now in slaughterhouses, you just see one after the other thrown in, on top of each other even. You know, one's dying and they're cutting at the other one and treading on them and, you know, using blunt knives. It's completely horrific, and people just don't observe any of the directives.
Yeah, because what halal actually means in terms of animal welfare?
Halal literally, I mean, the word halal means that it is lawful to eat, literally, something which is not unlawful. But, you know, basically the meat should not have very much blood in it, which is why I want it to bleed. But there is, in my opinion, absolutely no problem with stunning. On the contrary, at the end of the quotation of the Prophet about, you know, lead them gently, don't force them, don't let them see another animal being killed, don't let them even see the knife. You know, they should have no, you know, absolutely no awareness of what's going to come. At the end, it also says, and relax or rest the animal which you're about to slaughter. And that is such a vague remark, shall we say, and it's so unspecific to my mind. It's very obvious that it means there will be other ways of being able to make it relax before you slaughter it, which to me is stunning.
Is it halal, or is it according to the Quran directives to use a chicken coming from a megastore, for example, from the intensive farming? Is that according to what animal welfare is.
To my mind, it would not be. I mean, obviously there weren't. It's not specified because there weren't, there weren't battery hens in the time when Islam came out. But it's very much about the animals being relaxed, the animals being comfortable, the animals being happy, and to do anything which harms them is completely against all our directives.
If we really want to ban, for example, factory farms, we can join forces with Muslims together because it's not according to the standards that the religion asks.
And it is actually set down
welfare.
in our religion. It's not, it's not just a matter of. But to my shock and dismay, you tend to find people who are speaking in the name of religion, saying that no, this is all right, and this is not halal, and this is what's very shocking.
You said in your lecture at Harvard University that stunning fits with Islamic teaching to prevent cruelty to animals.
Yes.
Can you describe?
A certain kind of stunning. Obviously, the stunning from which the animal could wake up again afterwards, because we're not allowed to kill it. Reversible stunning. So, like the invasive stunning that actually goes through the head of the brain, then that's not permitted.
So, why are you in favor of stunning before they cut?
So that we fulfill the Islamic criteria of it not being aware of what's happening. Basically, we now have this method which we didn't have several hundred years ago, of being able to stun them, in a precise way so that you don't kill it, but that it actually loses consciousnness for long enough to have the veins cut and bleed out before it wakes up. And so it's not aware of anything happening. The workers are able to get close, perform the cuts properly, especially with cattle, because it's very difficult to do it, when it's a live threshing animal. The animal isn't as stressed, and the meters are better. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Why is there so much opposition against pre-cut stunning coming from religious groups such as Jews and Muslim groups?
Obviously, I'm not an expert on the precise Judaism requirements. However, for Islam, I simply can't explain it. Whatever I hear whenever we argue it is that the authorities are told it's cruel. First of all, there's some doubt as to, or there's sometimes concern as to whether the animal is actually able to wake up. So then that's proof to them that yes, they will stun an animal and wake it up again, which in fact is cruel because then it's got a headache. But yes, I understand they want proof of that. So having proved it, then sometimes people turn around and tell them this is cruel because it's painful. And when you've actually watched it, you see that the animal is stunned, and within less than a second, it's unconscious. How can it be painful? But sadly, we get many vets who fight this and say, well, maybe it is, and they're the ones who then make the muftis, the people who give the religious dictates. Because in Islam, if it's the religious authorities can pronounce on things, but if it's not their specialization or their field of expertise, they have to ask the people whose field of expertise it is. So, for example, in this case, they would consider vets or people who work with more aware of how the animal feels. So when they ask the vet and the vet tells him it's cruel, then they're afraid to give an answer. And that's the problem. And why these vets, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why these vets keep fighting it, I have no idea. It is extremely frustrating. In addition to agreeing with stunning as a principle, they're hopefully going to launch with us a special initiative to go around the slaughterhouses and talk about everything that's not permissible, from the pulling and pushing and throwing, and because they're very good people, but they just assume it's being done right, and when you actually go and see what actually happens throughout the region and throughout the world, probably it's not right. And I think they don't realize. So when they do see footage of it, they're completely horrified, and they're the ones who've been actually, thank goodness, encouraging me to really make a fuss. So I hope that they'll be able to go around and explain more to the workers and to the people on site what is not right about the whole process of the way they're behaving.
Wow, so the religious authorities are willing to advocate for stunning?
To advocate for treating them properly, and to okay stunning as long as the vets don't then turn around and say no. But they have supported stunning, and they've checked it, they've seen it, and they've approved it at the Greater Amman Abattoir. So they say as long as it's this kind of stunning and it fits these criteria, yes, that's fine.
Okay. But there are also religious groups in our country, for example, who deny the fact that an animal can be still conscious after the cut. They say, well, they immediately are unconscious, so there's no proof that the animal can be still well, aware of his surrounding after the cut.
Assume that it's unconscious immediately after the cut, which obviously it's not, because it's bellowing and crying and screaming, and especially the cattle. I mean, it goes on for ages, and you can see they're alive after the cut. But assuming it is, does it hurt to stun it, to be double sure? You know, where's the harm in that? So let's stun it and make sure it's not conscious, rather than just decide that maybe it's unconscious. You know, the whole situation is so stressful for them, the whole atmosphere. And there's thousands and thousands of animals being processed, or hundreds at least per day. So one has to understand that, you know, these ideal situations aren't happening. Hundreds of years ago, yes, possibly. And I think the people who were slaughtering them then obviously would have extremely sharp knives and know exactly what they were doing. They wouldn't be afraid of a large animal. And they would do it as quickly and as humanely as possible. But nowadays we have other options. And with the speed and the numbers that animals are going through, it's simply not possible to do it, in my opinion, properly without stunning.
People against the national mandatory for pre-cut stunning,
Yes,
always says, well, if you ban this in the Netherlands, for example, then they simply go to other countries and buy the meat over there. So you just shift the problem to other countries. What's your response to that?
My response is, first of all, if we're going to worry about doing something right ourselves because someone will go somewhere else and do it wrong, our responsibility is what we're responsible for. If you can ban it, you ban it. You know, if you can get it done the proper way, hopefully other people will follow. And if they're going to be so very blind as to not look into the reasons why you're doing it and understand that it is compatible with their religion and abide by that, if they really want to go and get something that's really not of good quality and bother themselves to that extent, let them try.
When we managed to get a ban on religious slaughter without stunning in 2011, we brought our bill, the Partij voor Animals brought the bill to the Senate. And the Senate opposed against this bill. And you know why? Because they said it's a violation against the freedom of religion. Is it actually a violation?
I can only speak for Islam because that's what I know better, and I don't see that it's against our freedom. On the contrary, you're helping us to enforce our laws in the best possible way, and you're helping us to remember and understand what the teachings were.
Why do we help to enforce these standards?
Because the animal should suffer as little as possible, and that's what people need to remember and understand. So if we're not willing to remember that and we're still doing it wrong ourselves, you know, thank you for doing it right.
Okay, so pre-cut stunning should be mandatory.
I think so.
In every country.
I think so.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
With your work.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much, and very best wishes to you. And thank you for your courage and all you're doing.
Well, thank you.